Ready to go? All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order for our special budget workshop of the Board of Regents of Amarillo Junior College District here starting a little bit after 4 p.m. I want to welcome everyone here. This has been a very hot summer, and it was hot just coming from the parking lot into here. So I really applaud people whose jobs take them outside. It's very tough this time of year. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Irene Hughes is going to bring us our prayer tonight.
Father, we just thank you tonight for being here with us. I pray that you will give us wisdom. We'll have peace here in this place as we discuss these important matters about the college. We just thank you for the privilege of representing you, of being here to represent the staff, students, and the administration. We just thank you for being with us. Just help us to complete and do a mighty work here tonight in Jesus' name.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Irene. Now, are there any blue cards turned in?
No.
Okay, so we'll skip item number 5 and go right into our one of the. I'm sorry. I even have it right here, Michelle. Michelle said she's got something for all of us on the board.
Announcement. You know, when we met last time at Panhandle PBS, I talked about serving dinner to the volleyball team before a game, and I volunteered us because I got a lot of head nods that night, and so I just assumed that meant yes, we're good with
tired actually.
We're good with that. So we are going to do dinner for them on August 24th, which is a Monday. So volleyball, and that's before our next board meeting. So that's why I needed to tell you about it today. And I'll follow up with an email or text or something like that. And Panhandlers is going to cater it with sandwiches and pasta salad and chips and cookies. And as you know, Livia Woodburn is Dr. Woodburn's daughter, and she's the caterer, and it's going to be delicious. And so it's going to cost, if all 11 of us did it, it would be about $50 each. If you can't do that, let me know and we'll make it up. So text me privately if you can't do that. And they do want us to try to be at the game too, if we can.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It'll be a lot of fun.
What time are you looking at?
The game is at 6, and I am not sure what time the food is supposed to be there. I didn't turn that on. The volleyball coach is out for a few days, and AC Foundation wasn't able to confirm what time do they want the food. But the game's at 6, so I'm thinking somewhere between 4 and 5, but I'm not sure. I will let everybody know. It'll be a lot of fun.
That sounds great. Thank you for thinking of that.
Oh, you can Venmo me or give me a check or something like that. I'll put that in a follow-up. I just wanted to tell you in person since I thought it was important to talk about it, since I'm obligating you to something.
We're voluntold.
Yes, so
thank you for that.
I will tell you, AC Foundation is super excited that the Regents are doing this. So lots of goodwill.
Good. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that, Michelle. And now item number 6, strategic planning. We're going to go ahead and jump right into that. I'll turn it over to Dr. Connor.
Thank you. So excited to get the chance today to talk to you about kind of the draft of our strategic plan and where we're at and get feedback from you. Thank you all so much for taking the time. I know that our July retreat is several hours longer than a lot of our board meetings, but I'm looking forward to some really great conversation today. So what we have as we've been looking at the strategic plan and how we would brand our next 5 years, we've been talking about, every student, every dream, one AC and what that means. And so we've looked to brand our strategic plan, Every Dream 2031, with that being the end of the strategic plan. And so when we started this, I just wanted to bring back up the timeline. And I think every time I bring it up, I move the green arrow over a little bit. So it was this time last year that we really launched those conversations about where do we want to go, where do we want to head, what do we want the next 5 years to look like. After that, I had and got feedback from faculty and staff on our mission, vision, values. We worked on our RFQ for our facilities master plan that we kind of want to do in line with it. And that was approved at our June meeting. And so we're on track to have that complete by the end of this year. I've already started some phone calls and working with them. And so now we're at the point where we're presenting the strategic plan to get great feedback from you all, so that then in the August board meeting, we'll be able to approve a plan that we're all excited about for where we're going to be focused. And so just to kind of jog your memories a little bit, a year ago, and then I brought it back a couple different times to board meetings, we really reimagined. And some of the things that we thought about and got feedback on were what expectations from our students, employees, or the community should more clearly shape our next strategic plan? What external force should be anticipated? And so the input process, so again, we started off last year at this retreat, had some activities happen to get feedback from our faculty and staff at convocation. When we came up with the draft of the mission, vision, values, we brought it back here. We also held pop-up events on campus before the holidays for students and the faculty and staff to also give input. When we came back in the spring, I did some work at ACES with the faculty to talk more about and get ideas of where we should head with our strategic plan. Had another meeting with staff, got with students and had a student focus group. We had a community forum that I got a lot of great input from. We also have within the college a strategic planning committee. And so all of these different activities that we have, we capture digitally all of that information. And then the committee was able to take all of that to come up with some initial ideas of where do we want to head? What do we want our goals to be? Cabinet then got to work on setting up those goals, right? What do we want to have as measurable metrics to achieve for these goals? And then now we're on the summer board retreat to get more feedback for approval for our August meeting. And so today is, again, really about feedback. I want to walk through each area to get your honest feedback. We want to know, are we on point? Because just as excited about where Amarillo College is heading from my perspective, I want you all to feel just as excited about where we're heading. And so that's everything from the wording we use, right? Should language be different on something? We've set performance metrics and measurable goals. Are they the right goals at the right setting? Are there additions? Is there something that we left out that you want us to add into the strategic plan? Anything that we should revise or areas that you would like us to reconsider? So that's just really open as we walk through each one on the slides to have those open conversations. And I really welcome all of y'all's feedback on this. So we'll get started with the draft mission statement. So right now what we have is Amarillo College transforms lives through learning, creating opportunity for every student and prosperity for the Texas Panhandle. So what are thoughts and ideas on that? Absolutely.
Okay, I felt like we could add some change, like creates and do transforms, creates, and brings. Would be Amarillo College transforms lives through learning, creates opportunity for every student, comma, and brings prosperity to the Texas Panhandle.
Okay.
It's more active voice. I like.
Okay, so hold on, let me actually write
That other one doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so if you wouldn't mind, I remark, so AC, Amarillo College.
Transforms lives through learning. Or do you want to use the short form? It creates opportunity. Oh, whoops. Okay.
It's just changing the verbs.
Adding some verbs actually
Creates opportunity.
for every student and brings prosperity to the Texas Panhandle.
Okay, so now we talked about that. We liked, I heard that's more active voice.
The only question is on brains prosperity.
What word do you like better?
Prosperity here for some folks, not for all.
Maybe.
I thought, I
Expand.
actually had the same thought that the structure wasn't parallel in my legal world. The verbs didn't match. So I would have definitely gone with that. I penciled in nurtures prosperity.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's change it.
Everyone like nurtures.
I really like brings, but I didn't think of
Yeah.
another one.
Okay, how's everyone feeling about that now?
I like it.
Everyone good? Any other comments on these tweaks?
Well, I hate to say something, but it just will be no longer meeting. But the opportunity, I never know exactly what that means. And sometimes you get opportunity, it's like, well, we had the opportunity. Too bad you didn't get success out of the opportunity we created. So somewhere in here, I think there's got to be the word success and not just leading them, but to success. I just never understand
It's in the
opportunity.
vision. Success is in the vision.
I know, but opportunity.
Do you want it in the mission is what you're saying? Should we add it into the mission?
Well, that's why I'm saying we create the opportunity for every student, but that doesn't mean they're all going to be successful in it.
Opportunity is one of those things that you can and you cannot. That's up to an individual.
It's still our mission.
It's still our mission, to create opportunity. If individuals choose to seize it. We want to take them through success. That's a definitely, but so that in mission part, no, the vision part of it. But I'm comfortable with creating opportunity. Because I still think it's up to the individual with what they choose. Makes someone succeed.
What was your idea?
Well, I'm just thinking they're coming here because they want success. They're not just coming here to
Have an opportunity?
yeah, I mean, to just waste their time. There's got to be some level of guarantee almost that it's not just an opportunity. It's where you're going to be successful here.
It's kind of scary me.
That doesn't mean.
That's a lawyer. I always avoid that word.
I'm saying that the conditions are more favorable to success versus, well, we gave you the opportunity and you just didn't reach it. You know what I'm saying?
But it's opportunity for success for every student. I mean,
No, I don't want to, if everybody is fine with the way that is, I know what it's supposed to mean and I can live with that. But in my background, we did this every year and we've had training. That's pretty ambiguous what opportunity means.
We could do something like creates opportunity for student success. If you want to get the success word in there.
I'm okay with that.
I just want success.
Everyone good?
There we go. I'm good with that.
That's a good next.
Okay.
Perfect.
We'll vote for that one.
prosperity. That doesn't add any words.
You're not
Yeah,
saying
take
anything.
that out.
Okay.
Well, I think if we do that. No, I think if you do that, then it creates opportunity for student success and prosperity because that
Like
sentence
that.
structure basically assumes that it's creating opportunity and creating prosperity without repeating creating
Yeah.
again. So
Yeah, that's true.
Say that
You
again.
don't need nurturing.
So creates opportunity for student success and prosperity.
Now, I had problems with that because I wasn't sure what the noun was that was
Yeah.
creating the
but it's the verb is assumed to be creates opportunity and creates prosperity. So it's assumed without having to write creates opportunity and creates prosperity. That's
But we're nurturing prosperity, isn't that part of creating success?
It just doesn't make a good sentence.
Well, when I read the sentence, I really couldn't tell if the creating opportunity was from learning or from Amarillo College. I couldn't tell what was the subject of creating opportunity.
True.
So that's why I liked what Irene said, because it seems like it's, the structure is better. But I understand what Paul's saying, but I think that goes back to learning then. I don't know that Amarillo College creates prosperity. I mean,
We nurture it, but we can't create it.
yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, it might. I mean, I know that there is definite financial value for Amarillo College or our impact on the community. I mean, a huge impact on the community. The prosperity kind of has a bad, I'm okay with it, but it's just a word that's kind of loaded.
Prosperity.
Uh-huh.
Anyone?
I don't know. I mean, I can live with it. It's just,
You may have a
it's
better.
sort of like rich and poor, you know, it's just,
Right.
it can like, are you prosperous? I mean, I don't know. It's just.
My mom always told me we were rich in love. That's all that mattered.
I spent 4 hours on this sentence.
I kind of think it's too long. I mean, if I'm a student looking through the website and I see this, I want to be interested in a school that's going to inspire me. And so I like what Jay's saying about success and student success, but I mean, it's kind of vague if I'm being quite honest. I mean,
You have a
you know,
suggestion? Like, what would you
well,
change
you
about it?
know, if I was a student or if I was an adult learner and I was thinking about the hardships that my family has gone through, I want to go to some place that's gonna change my entire life.
Mhm.
Not only for me, but for my entire family. So I need to be inspired in order to.
Okay. So what are you thinking that you would want to have for the language then?
We could take the whole prosperity thing off.
I think we need to throw in the mission, like maybe a commitment. Like Amarillo College is committed to.
Transform lives,
Yes.
create opportunities, prosperity.
Okay, so that's
Kind of guaranteed.
That changed the, that changes the verbs now, yeah.
So Amarillo College is committed to transform lives through learning, create opportunity for student success, and nurture prosperity for the Texas Panhandle.
I think we should use a gerund transforming.
Transforming, yes. That way it's parallel.
And if you're gonna do that, you have to do it
You
in
have
the
to
other
go all the way through it again.
Did.
Yeah.
Creating and brother, words you use.
English, you need to speak up over there.
Nurturing, and she said nurturing.
Let me know when you put the diagrams. I was gonna say.
Right. Right. Before we quit.
So right now we have Amarillo College.
It is I.
Is committed to transforming lives through learning, creating opportunity for student success, and nurturing prosperity for the Texas Panhandle.
Well, it's not shorter if,
But it's. I like that.
I think it's too long.
I don't either.
I like that.
I'm good.
Is it opportunity or opportunities?
Opportunities for student success, do you want opportunities?
Yes.
Because it would be plural.
We're transforming lives. Creating opportunity.
There.
Amarillo College is committed to transforming lives through learning, creating opportunities for student success, and nurturing prosperity for the Texas Panhandle.
No, I don't. Want prosperity.
Prosperities.
Prosperities.
Not prosperities. I like
How's
that.
everyone feel about that?
Good.
Everybody okay with it?
Going. I like it.
Yeah, okay.
I promise we won't be that
Hey, no,
delved into everything else.
I could be here all night.
I know.
I'm good.
That's the most important part in the first.
It is.
It's just right out the gate, right? It's our mission, so we gotta get it right. Okay, the next one is our draft vision statement. Amarillo College, every learner succeeds, innovation thrives, and communities flourish. This is that vision. This is that North Star of what we're striving for. So we did go very short.
I like it.
Yep. Very
Um,
succinct.
Does anyone have feedback or any things that you're thinking maybe we should adjust on the vision statement, or is everybody good?
Front with the mission.
Good aligns. Okay.
Good.
Okay, now I know this is small. I know you guys have copies on this. So this is our value statements. So what I tried to do is break it out. As I presented to you all before, we're going with, and I've got it in green, I care is short for our values. And that's integrity, curiosity, accountability, relevance, and engagement. So integrity, and I thought so that we have a short, right? If we want people and we create something that our folks are going to have at their desks, right? And think about this when they're making every decision. What's the short and sweet? So integrity, we earn trust through our actions. And how do we do that? Integrity means doing what is right, even when it is difficult. We act with honesty, transparency, and consistency in every interaction. We keep our commitments, own our decisions, and build confidence in one another through our words and actions. By modeling integrity, we prepare our students to lead with character and purpose. Curiosity, we embrace learning without limits. Curiosity fuels discovery, innovation, and growth. We ask questions, seek understanding, and remain open to new ideas and perspectives. We challenge ourselves to learn continuously, improve boldly, and adapt to meeting the needs of our students and communities. We inspire our students to approach life with the same passion for learning and exploration. Accountability, we take ownership of our impact. Accountability means holding ourselves and one another to high standards because our students, colleagues, and communities depend on us. We deliver on our commitments, measure our results, and continuously strive for excellence. We encourage our students to take responsibility for their learning, growth, and contributions to the world around them. Relevance, we deliver instruction that matters. Relevance means connecting education to opportunity, purpose, and real-world impact. We design experiences that prepare students for meaningful careers, engaged citizenship, and lifelong success. We continually adapt to meet the evolving needs of our region while helping students understand the difference they can make in their communities and beyond. And engagement, we create belonging through connection. Engagement means showing up with purpose, listening with respect, and contributing to something greater than ourselves. We foster relationships that strengthen learning, collaboration, and community. By creating environments where people feel valued, supported, and empowered, we invite every student and employee to play an active role in our shared success. So what's feedback that you all have on the values?
My feedback is that every time you've mentioned the word integrity or curiosity, each word, I kept thinking, well, that's the most important thing. And they're all important, but in a different way. I love it. I love the way this talks about relevance. I mean, and the sense of belonging and engagement, because that's what we do. And certainly we have to have accountability. And my favorite word is curiosity, because I think in education, we've killed curiosity too much by hand feeding young people things that we say they're supposed to learn without their having any say in it. To me, I like all of this. What does everybody else think?
Everybody good with these? Excellent. Okay, awesome.
That was easier.
That would have been bad. A long way through all of that.
That's okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk about our high level strategic goals and then the sub goals that we would have under them that have metrics. And then when we talk about the metrics, Colin's gracious enough to be here because Cabinet definitely worked with Colin on building out the metrics that we proposed. So we've got 5 strategic goals that we're proposing for the next 5 years. The first one is empower all students to achieve their purpose, right? And that's when you kind of think about student success and completion, but we phrased it as empower all students to achieve their purpose. Create a transformative student experience where every learner has the support, opportunities, and resources needed to achieve their educational, career, and life goals. Eliminate barriers, foster belonging, and champion success from enrollment through completion and beyond. Build the workforce that powers our region's future. Partner with industry and community leaders to develop talent, expand opportunity, and prepare students for meaningful careers. Create innovative, market-responsive pathways that connect education to employment and strengthen the economic vitality of our communities. Promote teaching and learning excellence. Inspire excellence across the college by embracing evidence-based practices, continuous innovation, and professional growth. Empower faculty and staff to create engaging learning experiences that maximize student achievement, workforce readiness, and transfer success. Steward resources to sustain and expand our impact. Strengthen the college's future through responsible stewardship, strategic investment, operational excellence, and effective compliance practices that promote accountability, manage risk, and uphold institutional integrity. Align resources, policies, and decision-making with our mission, values, and regulatory responsibilities to expand access, deepen partnerships, and ensure long-term sustainability and transformational impact for students and our communities. And we have a fifth one because we're coming up on our 100th year during this 5-year. We called it A Century of Impact, a Future of Possibility. Celebrate a century of impact while inspiring transformational investment that advances student success, strengthens Amarillo College's legacy of excellence, and shapes a bold vision for the next 100 years. And we thought this was really important to put in there because we're going to be dedicating resources to this. And so our strategic plan should align with what we're going to be doing. And so those are the high level 5 strategic goals. And so looking for feedback and input related to those and the language we use. And then we'll get into the metrics for each.
I have one suggestion on number 3 of 3.2. Make sure that it's the way I see it.
Okay.
It says scholars tracks. Does that not need to be possession?
Let's see, where are we at?
3.2 off of 2.
I'm just at the high level right now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Metrics.
You're doing the
Yep.
whole.
Yep. We'll just go, then we'll go one by one and drill down at each. Yep. But for this language at the high level, how does everyone feel about these being our high level goals of what we're going to focus on?
And yeah.
Everyone good?
One thing about the first one, it says student experience. I think if we're going to compete for traditional students and we're going out to try to get, people to get involved with our Badger program, we have to foster a campus life for them, whether that's clubs or different things in order to try to attract them. So I don't know exactly what that means, but if we're going to compete for traditional students, then we need to actually be intentional about it.
So intentional engagement and activities.
Does that mean Greek organizations again?
No, not necessarily saying that. I just think we need, and we've made progress. I mean, from the time I was here to now, as far as campus life, but I think there's a lot of things we can do, and we want those students to come to us rather than going to other places to start their college. So I think part of the student experience is also that.
Okay. Everyone good with the high level language then? And then we'll move into the detail. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to focus on the first goal and the sub goals with the metrics. So empower all students to achieve their purpose. We would increase the student graduation rate, achieve a first time in college 3-year student graduation rate of 41%. And you need to set a baseline, right? So that you can track your progress. So our baseline is 31%. And so it's a 10% increase, but when you think back in 2012, we were at 12%. And so what was that over the last 14 years? We've moved up to 31% and we're looking in the next 5 years to make another 10%. Increase student persistence, achieve a first time in college student fall to fall retention rate of 71%, with that baseline being at 61%. Until recently, we've been hovering pretty much around that 58, 59%. So this is definitely a stretch to get that up to the 71%. Increase transfer success, achieve a first time in college 3-year student transfer rate of 22%, with the baseline being 17%. And for the last 5 years, that's pretty much where that has stayed, about the 16 to 17%. So this would actually be doing things to increase the transfer success. And then finally, expand student access and success through the Badger Bound dual credit program. Increase the number of Badger Bound eligible students to 1,100 and increase the number of Badger Bound eligible students who actually matriculate to Amarillo College to 600. And when you look at baseline data, we had 661 eligible. So we're looking at taking that up to 1,100. And currently we've got 170 that matriculate. We want to take that up to 600. So for that first goal and these sub goals, what are your thoughts on the language we use, the goal we've set, and then the numerical metrics of anything that you'd like to see different than what we have?
Two things. Why are the baseline years different for the different categories, like 2022 or 2024?
I'm going to let Colin can more succinctly explain that. So I'm going to let you want to come on up to that way there, you at the microphone. Thank you.
So the first one, to do first time in college 3-year student graduation rate, you got to start with the cohort and give them 3 years. So the most recent cohort we had that completed their 3 years was the fall 2022 cohort. So you need 3 years to be able to measure that. Then when you go to fall, you just need 1 year. So we have the fall 24, fall to fall, because we already passed fall 25. So that's why just 1 year for that one. And then the transfer, that's the same thing. It's that 3-year rate. So it goes back to the fall 2022 cohort to give us the 3 years.
Thank you.
That's why those.
And you've got 2023.
The other thing is the last one. So I think I just have some terminology wrong or something, because Becky Burton presented Badger Bound, the presentation in March. And at that time, she said at the end of spring 2026, AC will have 1,100 dual credit students. And we're putting, our goal is to increase to 1,100, and we already have 1,100. So I think
the nuance there is that 1,100 is how many students we have taken a dual credit class. That doesn't mean that they complete the 15 credit hours so that they're actually eligible for Badger Bound to come here for the rest of it. And so the 1,100 is the goal, that a student doesn't take 1 or 2 classes, but that they actually take all 15. If I'm frank, does that?
in our minutes.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, but in our minutes, it said we will have that by spring of 2026, we'll have 1,100 dual credit students who have earned 15 hours. So that sounds eligible to me.
Okay.
So, and that was.
We'll double check that
Yeah,
to see about language, to make sure that this one is set, that what she had talked about versus this, that we have an appropriate goal. Okay.
The numbers, is it a percentage that you're wanting to increase and it's that number? Or is it, how is it?
So it's going from so say for the first one, you're going from 31% to 41%. So it's a 10% increase.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what for those.
And the
Yeah,
last
whether
one?
the last one is just an actual number that we're looking to grow.
Percentage increase.
Mhm. So we'll check the eligibility goal to make sure that that's an appropriate goal. And then I think because you had made the comment about the student experience and what we need to do there. We didn't have it listed as a separate goal. We talked about it, but talked about that for us to achieve this, for our students to persist and to graduate, we have to build all this. We have to do all this well. And so all of those SG, our student who works with our students at SGA, what's happening all in Bob's shop, all that has to be good. Our mental health services all have to be stellar so that we see those move. So we didn't have it listed separate. So I don't know if you feel like that's appropriate enough, or you'd like to have something listed separately with a goal related to our engagement with students.
No, I think it's there. I just think, you have to have the environment that they'll want to take the dual credit and see the value in that, in addition to just, the education. I think they want both of those. And I think that's the student that we're also competing for. That's just one type of student, but I think we can do that.
And I think where you might see it is after we have these, then the college family is going to be working by each division to put together their sub goals. Like, what are they going to do? And with metrics assigned to it to help reach these goals. And I think you're going to see some of that. Bob's going to need to come up with those, right? And
I can't wait.
And so you will see some of that filtered one more level down, and that's something that definitely is part of when we're presenting would be things that we can keep you updated on what we're doing there.
When you say sub goals, this is like the what, the sub goals will be the how, like strategies that you
Yep,
employ
exactly,
to
at the division
get
level.
it done. Okay.
Mhm.
So I have a question. Is it better to have higher goals than you can attain or to have lower goals that you exceed?
Well, you want to be in the middle, right? You want to have a stretch goal that is attainable, but it's not going to be too easy. And that's why we really looked at some of these baselines, and not only just the baseline, but to see, and that's where Colin and the information I spoke to is that what we've seen in progress over the last 5 years, we feel like this growth would be a lot of progress, right? So we had 17% for transfer success. We've been sitting there for the last 5 years and haven't really moved it. So with that, it's 17 to 22 doesn't sound like much, but we got to figure out what hasn't been working. We've got to definitely grow and expand in areas to do that. So that's but that's where too, I want your feedback on, do you think these are enough of a stretch goal? We can always too, if we achieve something, we can always then expand it if we can. But what do you think?
600 to 1100, it's a pretty big stretch. I just, it's nearly double. And that's great with me, but is it reasonable? I don't know. We need to measure up, right? At the end, we need to come up with this. Just a thought.
Anything else on this one? Is everyone good? Okay. We'll go to our second goal, which is build the workforce that powers our region's future. So the first goal is increase workforce credential production, increase the number of graduates from workforce programs with an annual median wage at or above a living wage 1 year after graduation by 10%. So our baseline is 629. The 10% would get us to 692. Expand work-based learning opportunities, increase student participation in internships, clinicals, co-ops, practicums, and earn and learn experiences by 10%. The baseline's 1428, so that would get us to 1571. Strengthen industry partnerships, achieve 90% employer satisfaction with the quality of Amarillo College graduates, curriculum, KSAs, and opportunities for employer-student engagement. And that's one right now that we don't have a metric for, meaning we don't have a way right now to capture that employer satisfaction. So part of this goal is actually going to be identifying what tool we're going to use so that we go out and we make sure that we're meeting the needs of the employers in all of these areas to be able to achieve this. Grow innovation through the Innovation Outpost. I know with some of the change with the schedule, last time of our meeting, we were going to present on the Innovation Outpost. So Denise and team will be here at the next meeting to talk about where we're headed. I'm very excited about that work. And so this is actually taking out a goal that you'll see when she presents. One of them is that we would position the Innovation Outpost as a regional hub for innovation by engaging at least 6,000 students, employees, entrepreneurs, and community members annually in innovation, technology, workforce, and entrepreneurial programming with more than a 60% employer return rate. And so the 60% is there because what we've looked at too from the work that Denise and team have done, and not to steal too much of the thunder for the presentation, but again, it's not just about having employers send their employees there for training and then they're done. We want to circle back and we want to be able to track and see, did they find the training valuable enough that the next time they have a training need, they come back to us again and we're the training site of choice for them. And then finally, we talked about bold goals. Launch a bachelor's degree program. So develop and secure approval for at least one applied bachelor's degree program aligned with regional workforce needs and enroll the first student cohort within the 5 years as a plan. So with those 5 sub goals, what are your thoughts on language, metrics, and where we're headed?
You already answered one of my questions about what tool are we going to use to measure. So that's good. And then, but the students on the Innovation Outpost, 6,000 students and community members and all, these don't necessarily have to be college students, right?
Correct.
They can be high school students. They can be even elementary students that depending on where it goes. I'm anxious to hear your report, but it could really encourage younger students to get involved in the work that they're doing at the Innovation Outpost through whatever evening events or whatever might happen, family nights or something like that. So I just want to make sure that we understand that doesn't mean just AC students.
Denise, do you want to add anything to that?
No, it's anyone that would have a need. It's going to be our older adults,
Yep.
returning students. It can be elementary school students that want to come through and do some of the engagement activities that we do. So it's the entire community.
Good. Yay.
For 2.1, do you already have like careers that these individuals could go into that would give them an increase?
Oh, for the increased workforce credential production?
Are we already looking at like a skill set and like types of positions?
Yes, I'll let, I know Frank's just.
Oh, I was following up on, I'm sorry, I was finding information you sent on. What's the question?
John was asking for the first one on workforce credential production, and we talked about the programs that with an annual median wage and at or above living wage 1 year. He was asking about, do we already have programs that those students would then, and jobs that they would could get from the programs that we have here?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
For sure. I mean, that's, one of the reasons why the college won the Aspen Award was because of our labor market outcomes. If you graduate from our course programs that not only are they placed in jobs, but they're high demand jobs that the living wage. Help me out here, but they're 1, 3, and 5 year median wage outcomes are really good. Yeah, yeah. So. That is our question, John.
So you have
Want
examples?
some examples? Yeah. What are the programs?
Of programs? Oh, anything pretty much on East Campus. All pretty
All
much
CTE.
all of our CTE programs, yeah. So those are really gonna be the suite of programs where we will be looking primarily at this metric. So for a student who goes through our welding program, what are they earning? First, are they being placed in a job for which they earned the credential? And how much are they earning year 1? But we're tracking that even beyond that 5 years. So, because we want to see some growth. So,
Personally, I've got a family member that went through the diesel mechanic program a couple of years ago and was making like 6 figures. Program, and they're continuing their learning and they're at the engineer.
So where does the like alignment with AEDC and other entities that are recruiting to our area? Because they're the ones that see the needs first from companies that we may try to recruit. And are we embedded in with some of the possibilities that they're exploring? And how does that fit in with these? Is that industry partnerships or?
Yes, so that's under industry partnerships. It's also under the Innovation Outpost growth. So between both of those is where you're gonna see that. Anything else? Everybody comfortable? Everyone good? The next goal is to promote teaching and learning. So we have 3 goals here. First, strengthen career and transfer readiness. Embed authentic assignments and assessments in all programs to connect classroom learning with career competencies and or support transfer success. Expand the scholars program across academic disciplines. And I talked about this, I think at our last meeting where we went to the foundation to get some funding to be able to support doing this. Expand the scholars program beyond STEM disciplines by launching scholars tracks and at least 2 additional academic programs beyond STEM. And then finally, lead in artificial intelligence innovation. So implement AI enhanced teaching, learning, and operational tools across the college with 100% of faculty receiving foundational AI training and at least 50% incorporating AI supported practices in the classroom. What are thoughts on these 3 goals?
That's where I had that question about scholars, but is that what we want right there, scholars without, it doesn't need a
Does our scholars program have that?
session, does it?
It's an attributive now.
Doesn't need it, okay.
Exactly.
Those
Now you see it.
those attributive nouns, yeah.
And 2, while we have on this one related to faculty receiving artificial intelligence training to be able to use in their jobs, as we go and we talk about stewarding resources and some of the things that all of our employees are looking to do, I'm looking to have training for all of our employees as well over the 5-year period for how do we do our work here better beyond that. But this is what we have for the faculty one.
On the AI, I'm thinking that on the students, the learner side, they're closer to 100% of using AI. But I'm really glad to see that goal in there because I think once the training happens and we're looking at doing it, aggressively and intentionally, I think that more than 50% will be using it once they realize how helpful it can be. But again, you don't want to stretch it too far. So I like that.
And Frank you already had a session with faculty before we broke for the summer, I believe. That was already having some conversations on AI, and we wanted to be really intentional with this strategic plan that, I've talked about here and every single group that I got with about part of the importance of this plan too is that we decide what we're not going to do because we can't just keep doing everything and then add this on. And so we wanted to be sure that the things that we're dedicating time to this because it's important as part of our goals. Everyone good then with these? Steward resources to sustain and expand our impact. So we have 5 goals here. Ensure a strong financial future. Strengthen the planning, oversight, and optimization of the college's primary revenue streams, including tuition, fees, state appropriations, and other recurring revenues to support sustainable operations, maintain positive operating margins and healthy reserves, exercise responsible expense management, and advance institutional priorities. Improve operational efficiency, identify and then redesign, streamline, and/or automate all necessary high-impact administrative processes to reduce cycle times, improve service, and enhance employee productivity. Strategic workforce alignment and talent optimization, identify and align the college's workforce and organizational design to advance strategic priorities by ensuring talent and expertise are deployed where they can have the greatest impact on student success, institutional effectiveness, and long-term sustainability. And that's a lot of the work that Dr. Coleman's been starting as he began, I think started last October. Facilities alignment and utilization management, complete a comprehensive assessment of 100% of college-owned facilities. We've started that with our facility master plan right now with all of the campuses other than Moore County and Hereford to maximize space utilization, improve operational efficiency, and support evolving institutional needs. Implement space optimization and consolidation strategies that enhance the value and effectiveness of campus facilities, repurposing or transitioning underutilized space to better support strategic priorities. And last, enhance institutional effectiveness and data-informed decision-making. Implement performance dashboards and continuous improvement processes across all divisions, with 100% of departments quarterly reviewing and reporting progress on strategic metrics. And this last one will be reporting to you all regularly on where we're at. This is also internal. So what I'm looking to do, and I've talked with cabinet about, is that I mentioned that after these goals, right, then we're going to have each of the divisions are going to be setting these sub goals, right? Or how are we going to accomplish this? And on a quarterly basis, I'm looking for them to report out in a means where the whole college family is going to be able to hear where are we tracking so that people in the divisions can see, hey, this is what we're doing and how we're progressing. And then other people can see this is what that division's doing that's actually going to impact us hitting that strategic goal. So those are the 5 sub goals for this one. What thoughts and feedback do you have on these?
The facilities alignment, utilization management. We did one of those many years ago.
For the bond,
What?
for the bond election.
18 or 19.
Yeah.
So are we talking about hiring that out again?
We did. You all, the board had approved the contract for that. We went out to bid and chose someone, and the timeline is that they would have that completed, December, by the end of December.
Slipped my mind. I now remember that. Yeah.
Broadest, so we spoke about it as broadest, but yes, and so we've started that work.
I'm gonna plead ignorance, because I left my notes at home. There's a couple of things I didn't see in this, and maybe it's someplace else, and if it is, my apologies for asking now. One was, the gaining revenue through grant writing. Is that someplace else, or should it have been mentioned here?
We could add that. We have tuition fees, state appropriation, and I think we're capturing it in other recurring revenues. But we could certainly add grants in there because that is an incredibly important part of our revenues, and it's definitely a way, as we're seeing decreases in other places, to supplement and still be able to move forward. So we could include grants into that statement as well, if you all would like. Yeah.
And the other one that I get approached by, and most recently was when I was getting tires, there was a senior there that knew who I was, and she said, "I want to know when we're going to have seniors programs. We miss those programs. That's what gave us community, and we enjoyed taking the classes and getting together." And I said, "Well, I will bring that up." So
They can take our bird class.
yeah, there's a bird class. Yes,
Never too old for that.
that's
And we're definitely not looking at decreasing that or taking those types of programs down through any of this.
Where? Somebody else? Where in here does it demand that we active in working with that intact to maintain our exposure to what's going on in the legislature, to advocate for funding, et cetera?
I think we could actually add that to the first one, because I did incorporate it somewhat in the higher level one, but you're right. We didn't, so on that one, I actually added that talked about our regulatory responsibilities. But then when it came to this, that was one that we didn't detail, so I could absolutely look at incorporating. We'll look at adding some look for that. Execute a year-long centennial celebration that engages students, employees, alumni, donors, and community partners through a series of high-impact events and experiences. We want that entire year to be filled with lots of exciting, interesting things, and everywhere we turn, we're celebrating that 100-year. I know some of the teams have already been brainstorming on ideas of things in the classroom and outside of the classroom that we could do.
Is this 29?
Yep,
Okay.
but we gotta start now.
Started
Gotta start.
last year.
start now. Complete a transformative centennial comprehensive campaign, explore, design, and then launch a comprehensive campaign to secure philanthropic investments that advance the college's strategic priorities and long-term sustainability. So Joe Bill's finally gotten to get his breath and be starting to think on this one.
Centennial means 100, right?
I'll let you.
Not that much. college.
You think participating in a volleyball dinner is expensive?
And then strengthen alumni and community engagement, deepen lifelong connections with alumni, and strengthen Amarillo College's role as a community anchor institution by increasing active alumni engagement through events, volunteerism, mentorship, and giving. And again, we wanted to specifically mention this one because during this time, there's going to be so many opportunities, and especially for our younger alumni, of how can we bring them in? And that may not be monetary, but right, could we have someone that graduated 2 years ago come into the classroom to talk about their experience and what it's like to actually work in that field? And so I think it's going to give us a lot of that opportunity to engage with different alumni through this 100 year. And we want to be able to work through having this as a goal so that we're actually capturing that type of work to strengthen it. That it's going to lead to long-term connection with the college. So what are thoughts on and ideas on this sub goal or these sub goals for the school? Everybody good with this one? Okay. And so that's the strategic plan. This has been, like I said, it's been a whole year in the making. And so thank you all so much. I know I've taken up board meetings and getting your feedback, and you all been willing to brainstorm with me and bring your thoughts of where you see Amarillo College going. And just excited then to get our new strategic plan and start making it happen. So I don't know if anybody else has anything, but that's my presentation. Thanks you all for
Great.
the hard work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent job.
I saw that wheel, all the things
All the
that
things that we
that has
did.
happened. That's a lot. And that's all the college and in all the community, it seems like. So I love it. I think it's great. Does anyone have any other comments about it? Do you need a break? Because you're up again.
Well, it might not hurt to just take a couple minute break, or a little bit of a,
Get some
Break.
water or something,
Just,
get your breath.
and we'll be on.
'Cause you're up
we're
next
up for the next
again.
one. All right.
Okay.
Thank
Take
you.
5 minutes.
Okay.
Take 5.
Thank you.
If y'all haven't gotten Connor has her legs back under her after that great first presentation. And now we're going into the budget workshop portion.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to this.
Thank you. So today I'm coming to you with the draft of our FY 26-27 operating budget. And this presentation will look probably a little different, I think, than what you're used to seeing, or at least what I've seen here. So what we're going to talk about, what our strategic goals were when we developed our budget. Take a look at, what you're used to seeing, which is the report of the revenues and expenses in the budget. But then we're going to actually go through each one and talk about the highlights of what's included, what's changing. And we're going to talk about revenues, personnel, other expenses, capital projects, and capital equipment. And then we're going to take a look at how did we strategically align our budget, considering our new strategic plan. And then I'm going to give you a summary that pretty much shows, like, hey, from where we think we're going to end this year, these are the things which we'll have talked about all through here that then takes us to this new budget, so that you understand kind of what's changing and what's different, and then kind of next steps and what's coming up. So the strategic operating budget goals that we set, one was we want to continue building our fund balance reserve. So when we modified the budget in November for this year, we have a goal of 5 million. For this coming year, we've also incorporated into the budget another 5 million planned that we would be able to drop to the bottom line, with the goal of getting us back up to about a $20 million fund balance. Also, we had a reduction in the state funding formula and funds we received there, so we needed to make adjustments to the budget to have a balanced budget there. When we went out and we started the budget process, we actually asked everyone to stay flat when they put in their budget request to what that modified or revised budget was that we set in November, knowing that there would be some things that have changed and increased, but if we could predominantly try to stay flat, then we're just looking at the strategic things that we need to actually increase. And part of that is we've seen enrollment growth. Last year we were up 5% for our different terms. And so we need to support that enrollment growth and the needs there. And through all of those things, then be able to develop a realistic, balanced budget that's going to meet all of these goals. So flat budget means is that if you had, when I gave you your budget, so you had your budget and it was $5,000 in supplies, the expectation is that you would ask for $5,000 again for supplies. If there was anything over 5,000, so say you were NIT and the licenses go up, right? We know that those costs increase. Then you would put that in the budget and you would also do an explanation of why you needed that increase. And then what I did this year was that once we had everybody's budget requests in with that, I met with every individual cabinet member on their division budgets, and we went through in detail on every request over that flat budget to understand what needed to increase and where we needed to be able to cut. And then based on that, then we started seeing where we were and then made other adjustments. But that's what when we talk flat budget as a starting point.
Just one question on the fund balance reserve. You mentioned 15 to 20 million. How do we determine that amount? And in the past, I feel like I remember that it was based on 3 months expenses or 4 months expenses if we had an emergency, but how are we determining what that balance needs to be now?
So I calculated it out based on what we tend to bring in. So in essence, to make sure that we had about 3 months worth, and that comes out to about that $20 million number. Now we can also decide, as we're building this up, if we want to go above that. Because I know the college in the past has had higher level reserves. And so we can always decide if, and especially how things are happening with pricing and costs, that we want to increase it more. But when we had talked back in November, that's what I was kind of gauging, was about a 20 million as an initial goal.
Do you feel like there's a reserve balance? I think it's been mentioned in the past that if you get higher than a certain amount, that it hurts you as far as state funding, so that we want to stay below that fund.
I know that other institutions have received questions who have higher fund balances, and I've had a few comments mentioned of asking how we're utilizing and spending, especially the funding formula funds, which got really positive feedback with our Badger Bound program, that with new and extra state appropriation money that we didn't get before House Bill 8, that we're actually putting that back into our students as opposed to just built into the fund balance. So I think you do have to find that sweet spot there.
The balance of the fund.
The balance of the fund. So again, I'm going to go through detail on future slides of this, but these are our revenues. What I've included here are our actuals for 23-24 and 24-25. 25-26 looks a little larger because I wanted to include that initial budget last year that you approved, the revised budget that we did in November, and then right now what we're projecting for our year end next to our draft budget. And again, we'll go through those amounts and kind of what's changing there in detail on the other slides. And then similarly for our expenses, we're showing that the same type of information on actuals for the last 2 years, what our budgets were this year, the end of year projection, and then our draft budget. And you'll notice, and I'll talk about this later, but we've got 89.7 million that we have right now for our draft revenue. And for purposes of this, we've got 84.7 million. The difference is, because we need to submit a balanced budget to the state, is the 5 million. And so we've taken into account that our expenses don't include the 5 million. For the purposes of submitting, that will go into our contingency line so that we're sure that we're saving that 5 million aside to be able to drop to the bottom line. So for revenue highlights, one of the ones which obviously everyone's been hearing about are state appropriations. We had a $2.3 million decrease in performance funding allocation. So we went from 19.6 million to 17.3 million. They are talking about the possibility when we're in legislative session that we could get some supplemental funding, but I have not included in the budget any anticipation of that. So anything. Yes, there was talk of it, and I brought it up in our at the May board meeting, that with some of the changes that they were looking to make in the formula, that would adjust. It did end up coming in as a bigger decrease than what we thought, and I think what maybe I'd mentioned to you all, but we were planning in some way for it, and they just made the adjustments that we needed. And then also you'll see, if you just looked at the state appropriation line, that it's not fully the $2.3 million decrease, because even though that's our primary source of state appropriations, we do receive funding from FAST for our students that take dual credit, and we are anticipating an increase in that. And so that kind of offset that 2.3 million just a little bit. On tuition and fees, when we looked at that, and Colin did a great job on projecting out, again, we've been having enrollment growth. And so we're projecting a 4.7% enrollment increase for next year. So that's just over $1 million that we've added over where we think we're going to land this year. What I wanted to point out, because it's not included in the budget, but I wanted you to know that we're looking at it and we're thinking about it. Colin also looked at if all of the students that are eligible and Badger bound to come to us next year, that would be about $751,000. Now, that remains to be seen, right? We need to see actually how many come. But we are anticipating that, and that obviously we wouldn't include in our tuition revenue because we don't get revenue for that. So I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware we didn't include it. We are calculating and going to be watching it because we're really interested to see how many students do we actually have that come and take advantage of the Badger Bound program. And then finally on tuition and fees, we've also added advanced manufacturing and welding out at Moore County. And so there's that increase we're seeing there, which we've included in tuition and fees. For tax revenue, for right now, what I'm showing you today, it's currently projected flat to our current year actuals. I wanted to be, somewhere of what do we know right now? So we just got in additional information that we've just received. So we're going to be calculating the tax rate. We have the tax rate, a special meeting in a week or two. We'll be setting that. So we're going to be working on that. Depending on what that ends up coming in with, I'll be bringing all that information to you all in August. That's going to have all the detail on the rates, what we're looking to do. And then also, if by chance, then that number is looking lower, or if it's looking higher than what we're flat to for this year, then we will also, I'll be bringing to still a balanced budget. We'll make additional expense adjustments to accommodate that. Private gifts, and so on that line, and you'll see later on where that's actually going down this year, the way that we actually measured that this year was we worked with the foundation on especially what pledges and what funds do we have coming in for next year. So that's what we've set the budget on, is what we know right now that we're going to be seeing from the foundation that would transfer over. Also investment income. So we budgeted a $200,000 increase over our current year actuals. The way we calculated that is if we land this year with $5 million of fund balance, we're going to be able to be earning interest on that. And when we calculate out, we should have about $200,000 more interest income than from investment income than we had this year. And so that we were able to increase that some. And then miscellaneous income, you're going to see that that's come down some from what we had or what we're seeing this year. Miscellaneous income kind of comes from all areas of the college, but it's not necessarily consistent. And so it can ebb and flow. And when I looked at kind of multiple years, we're kind of seeing a bit of a declining trend. And so I wanted to be conservative on that for what I was seeing with the trend. So we've taken that overall budget down by about $515,000 to accommodate for it. And so I thought it would be a good graphic to show you that with these changes that we've made in revenue, how does that impact where our funding's coming from for our revenue? So you can see on the graph to the left, that shows that our projected actuals for this year, 23% of our funding comes from the state, 26% from tuition and fees, 38% from tax revenue, and 13% from other. With the adjustments that I just mentioned to you, state funding actually goes down to 21%. With the increase that we're budgeting for in enrollment, tuition, and fees, that goes up by 2% to 28%. And tax revenue, just by means of state appropriations going down, is moving to 39%. It's not really a dollar amount change. And then other goes down to 12%. I think that that's a really good gauge to see where does our funding come from, especially when you look back on the strategic goals we talked about on how do we optimize our revenue streams. We need to be watching this to see where this comes from. So when we talk about personnel highlights, so one of the things that we budgeted for when I came to you in November, we budgeted laps in order to try to create our fund balance for the end of the year. And the policy that we've had, we will continue with, which is that we're not on a hiring freeze, but we just have some processes in place that allow us to create more laps than we would otherwise. So we will continue with that practice for next year, which is where whenever a position becomes open, folks will talk to their cabinet member, and when their cabinet member deems appropriate, they will bring it to cabinet to talk about either this would actually be delayed for 3 months. We would have a 3-month window to intentionally gain some lapsed dollars in savings, or this is a priority position and we need to work to fill it right now. For example, Frank's been bringing several recently because as we've had some folks leave, we need to have the faculty in here for fall. So those need to get started right away. I wanted to put up there, we budgeted for a full year of 15% lapse. When I had the modified budget in November, it was 17%, and we really only had about 6 months to incorporate it, because even though that happened by the time we had the holidays and came back and could start the process, that really was January. But I wanted you to see it also because as we build our fund balance back, the intention isn't to keep budgeting for labs. This is a means right now to just be laser focused and watching our budget to create those dollars. But the lapse percentages will continue to go down as we're building up our fund balance and we have other revenues to release that. Right now, we've actually included a 2% pay raise in January. It would be contingent on budget performance that we have the funds to do it. It's about $600,000, so every 1% is about $300,000. I know that right now the budget is tight, but the means by which we've been able to add to our fund balance, the plans for next year, is because the college family has been willing to work through when we talk about laps, right? That means there's a couple more months in there that maybe they're having to help do somebody's job and cover until we can get that one in. As we're ending the year, we've been asking people, just because you have budget left, don't go spend it. Like, let's save this so that we can build our fund balance back. And everybody's been incredibly responsible in that. And then also when you look at it for consideration, once, and I know that Amarillo College has gone through this before, and I have in my previous location, but once you miss some years of pay raises, you just get that more farther and farther behind. So that's included for right now. And then new positions that we added. So as you can imagine, there's lots of needs and we had several requests. But in light of the budget, needing to balance the budget, we really focused on strategic priorities of what we need to fund. And so right now we are adding 3 full-time faculty positions, 1 in biology, 1 in computer information systems, and 1 in economics. And then we also have in the budget an internal auditor that we would be added as we've talked about with the board. Also, in line with the enrollment growth that we're seeing and that we're expecting, we've increased the budget for the adjunct faculty wages for our adjunct faculty as well as for overload to make sure that we can cover the classes that we have. And then we've left student wages flat to the budget for this year. And so that's more of a process issue. What we found this year, our budget's been at $350,000 for our student workers. And that's not just the amount of money, because a lot of student workers we actually pay through federal work study funds that we get. However, our processes this year have been a little bit less strict. And so we're closing in on close to, I think we're at $770,000 versus the $350,000 that we budgeted. So we're just going to take a step back and go back to making sure we're following those processes for students that we pay that are not getting federal work study funds. It doesn't include those. And then also we heard for the insurance costs to the college for insurance for our employees, that's going up by $447,000 next year. So we need to incorporate that in the budget as well.
What was last year's pay raise?
We did a one-time, it was a 3% with a minimum of $1,200, I think, for anyone that made under a certain amount, was I think what we did last year. So it was a one-time, not a regular pay raise.
And that was like in January too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was it made retro back to September? Was the one that was,
Pardon?
that one made retro back to September?
No, it's just, it was a one-time payout.
One-time payout, okay.
Right.
So on our other expenses, supplies increased about 2.5% from our modified budget this year. Supplies is not just general office supplies, right? That's things we need in IT, that's things that our facilities folks need, right? There's prices that go up. So there were some things in there that raised that slightly. Travel decreased by almost 6% over the current year budget. The college family has been fantastic in that what they're spending this year isn't hitting that amount. And so really we're not seeing, even though this is a cut to the budget, they've maintained their spending. And so they would still have the same amount that they would be able to spend for next year. We had to, we added back in the cost of the facilities master plan. So that's 396,000 this year. We have had a couple invoices come in as the company has started the work. We'll have a little bit that's hitting this year, but we've got that budgeted all in next year. And then also, again, based on Badger Bound, if all the students that are eligible come, we need to cover their textbooks. And if they all come, that's going to be about $393,000. And so we needed to incorporate that in the budget so that we have the money to spend. Also, these aren't necessarily, they're a little harder to explain, but the other items. So I think I talked to you all before about surplus vehicles. We have about 90 vehicles. We have some other equipment. So there's that opportunity to have an auction and bring in some cash. That's not in our budget at all, but just to know that's something that we can utilize to add for other needs we have to add to the fund balance, those types of things. Also, you all are familiar with the model we've had called rolling stock, right? So what I found out is that the reality is we haven't really been utilizing it to purchase vehicles. We've actually just been buying them straight out of operating budget. And so really it's just a journal entry that's been happening with those departments get charged out of operating budget to go into the rolling stock. And so we're just going to stop that model. We're going to look at what's the right model for us to have. But then that journal entry difference from an operating budget perspective actually saves us $474,000 if we're just not going to charge their operating budget to move into a rolling stock account. So we have that in there. For contingencies, I have a $1.1 million contingency across the board for all the contingencies we have at the college. Also, we have the encumbrances, right? The orders that we have for this year that won't necessarily be paid out by the end of the year. So we've budgeted for that $1.1 million from prior year expenses that will come in there. And then again, even though I'm showing it at 5 million less in expenses versus revenue to create our balanced budget, we have created a line item that is our fund balance reserve. And that's that 5 million that we'll have in there that we won't be utilizing. So that would drop down to the bottom line. Capital projects, when we first got our capital projects request, because there is quite a bit of maintenance and things that need to be done. This budget was actually more than double this. But with the constraints we had, I asked the team to go back and say, hey, can you cut it in half? That's going to be one of the things that we'll be working on under the strategic plan, is really working on a deferred maintenance plan going forward and what that looks like. But for this year, we have $1.6 million in there, and I wanted to walk you through what our plan is for capital projects this year. Across the campuses, we have LED lighting upgrades, building drainage, paint and small repairs, carpet and flooring replacement, new storefront upgrades to all the campuses. Forgot what AMAG.
It's the keyless entry.
Thank you. Keyless entry upgrades for all the campuses. Had to have some budget in there for unplanned projects that we don't anticipate. We do still need to do the roof at the Sim Center on the West Campus. We also need to patch seal and restripe our parking lots. And then we have ADA compliance improvements we need to make. And then on the right-hand side, looking at Moore County, Hereford, and our East Housing. Moore County has LED lighting upgrades, classroom renovations, carpet and flooring replacement, paint and small repairs, and also a small budget for unplanned projects. Hereford, we have truck driving track repairs, classroom renovations, LED lighting upgrades, carpet and flooring replacement, paint and small repairs, and other unplanned projects. And then for the housing we have out on East Campus, we've got budget in there to paint them and also for electrical upgrades that we need to do. So that's what's in our budget for next year for capital projects.
Do we have insurance for the roof?
That's what I was wondering.
Or Sim Center?
Oh, Mark's not in here. I don't know. Oh, hey, I don't know, did we?
I'm sure we do, but the deductible may be real.
Okay.
That's the problem.
And as far as the East Campus, have we taken a new look at our rental rates that are out there, especially with all the rental, there's such a demand for it right now with all the AI centers and everything. Look at that again.
I don't think we've looked at it real recently, but we looked at it maybe within the last year and a half in our facility master plan people. Be looking at that specific.
Okay, good.
But the rental occupancy rate is still, like 95 or 6. So
Yeah, I figured.
it's pretty.
definitely do that. And then we have capital equipment. We have 1.2 million budgeted for capital equipment. So there's 125,000 set aside for different classroom needs and other needs between academic affairs and the library. Technology support and expansion is $1 million. Our First Bank Southwest gym, we're on a schedule for equipment replacement, so we don't want to get behind on that. And then there's items that both between, when you look at custodial, grounds, and East Campus housing, some equipment that they needed to get related to each of those to keep being able to do their work. Yes, sir.
Just seeing the gym equipment for the, seeing that on there made me remember, what about trees out there on Washington? I mean, I know we've had some community members that have been really concerned about that. So are there any plans?
There are not plans right now. We don't have funding to do it, but we, like you said, we do have some community members that could be interested. And so we need to take a fresh look. We had started to take a look at what that might look like and how much that would cost. And it kind of got large very quickly. And we want to have a reasonable plan. And so we're going to go back and take a fresh look at that. And then we should have something that we'd be able to bring forward. So strategic plan budget alignment. This isn't perfect because we didn't start the budget with this in mind. But like I mentioned on our strategic plan, it's so important that you align all of our resources, which includes our budget, to our strategic plan and how we're going to meet those goals. And so what I did this time was I took what the balanced budget ended up being and the expenses for that and worked with Cabinet to just kind of ballpark, where do you see for next year, when you think about each of our 5 strategic goals, your resources being. And so based on that, for next year, we've got 29% on student success and completion, which is empowering all of our students. Building the workforce is 24%, teaching and learning is 21%, stewarding resources 20%, and century of impact 6%. Now, as we get closer to our 100-year, that 6% is going to get bigger, right? But for next year, there's just going to be a little bit of work we're going to be starting on that. And so we wanted to capture it. But this is really important. I want to be able to be showing you this so that you see, that we are laser focused on aligning with our strategic plan, even the funds that we have in our budget, to make sure that we're on target to meet those and have everything that we need to be able to achieve those goals. And so this kind of gives you a summary of all of it. And so what I did, it shows you the changes. So under revenue, I started off with, hey, where do we think we're going to end at right now? And then what are the changes? So right now we're looking to end just under 92 million. We had the $2 million net decrease from state appropriations. Our tuition and fees, we budgeted the 4.7% growth, so that's 1.1 million. Our tax revenue is pretty flat. When we calculate it, it's like 50,000 more. So it has to tie out for me or it bugs me. So that's why that's in there. Private gifts. So that's where it's an $870,000 decrease, but that's literally just because this year, with the funding that our donors gave from the foundation that came over, that's very different from next year. And we really looked at what are we going to see next year. So it puts it in line with that. The miscellaneous income I talked about, so that one takes that down about 500,000. When you put the other things together, is about 340,000. So that gets us to our draft revenue budget of 89.75 million. And then for expenses, again, our current actuals are projecting around 87 million. Personnel overall is a $4.75 million decrease, but what that is, as a reminder, I put it in the box at the bottom. So that's because we're incorporating a full year of 15% lapse savings, and then it's offset by increases that, we've got the 2% raise in there for 600,000. We have those 4 new positions, and then we have that 447,000 increase in our insurance costs that the college will be paying. That nets out to 4.75 million. Student wages, and really looking at the process there and following it, staying within our budget. That's 390,000. I showed you the capital equipment. So that with that increased about 380,000 over what we spent this year. The facilities master plan we added to the budget, that's 400,000. We've got our Badger bound books added to the budget for expenses of 393,000. When you put the rest of them together, about 290. And then contingency, in order to have our budget goal for this year, when I did the modified budget of the 5 million, we really had to take contingency pretty low. We still wanted to have enough in there. This gives us the opportunity this year where we're actually increasing it by 1.79 million. So we've even got a little bit more buffer in there for things that are unanticipated that happen, where we're still not touching fund balance. We have reserve in there. And so with that, we come to an expense budget of the 84.76. And then when you balance that up with our revenue or fund balance reserve goal of $5 million, that's the balanced budget. And then coming up, so our new VP and CFO, Mr. Suarez, starts on August 10th. I've already been talking with him. He's been talking with several folks at the college already. So really excited for him to start. I'll be setting him with priorities when he arrives. Lots that I've got for him to do when he starts. It'll be great. We have our special meeting to approve the tax rate on August 11th. Board approval of the final budget is August 25th. And again, for that, by then I'll have all the tax rate information for us to be able to go over and go through. Some of the other things we're going to be doing, I know it's been brought up, I think Johnny's been talking about it, is how do we show our budget year to date when we're showing our actuals? And so there's an analysis where we can pull several years of trends to see on average certain things like how does our personnel tend to play out by month by month? How do our other expenses seem to, that could help us then allocate this overall budget to a monthly budget for both revenue and expenses that we can use that will help you all when we're reporting monthly on where we're really tracking. So you can see, are we above or behind where we think we are? And we're going to continue, I think, with, I know with the start of Mr. Suarez on continued enhancements to the monthly financial report with things that you all want to see, other ideas that he and I both have of great things to add to that. And then we want to continue. I've done just a little bit here of aligning our current budget and our financial plan with the new strategic goals. And we're going to continue that work with some of those sub goals that I talked about at the division level that he'll be creating there, as well as with the other cabinet members. And so with that, definitely open to questions and feedbacks of things that you all might want me to look into or check on before I bring the final budget for approval next month. But really want to thank you all, especially this year, with the work that we've done with the current budget and then some of the challenges we've had with this coming up budget. The college family has really been on board with it. But thank you all for your leadership and your commitment to really making us, sustainable financially, and just ready to move the college forward with our new strategic plan. So able to hit these finance goals we want and still be able to grow and meet the needs of our community and our students.
Do we have this presentation?
Not yet.
Okay.
But I'll definitely see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my president and CFO duties. It's been a little challenging, but
I
yeah.
want to say you've modeled the laps basically for about 8 months now or so. So yourself, and how eager are you to get him here?
I am so excited to have him here.
No, you have done stellar work doing both positions really. And one of the reasons we hired you was because of your financial background and your business acumen and things that you've done in your past. So again, it was very,
Appreciate it.
I don't even want to say fortunate. I think it was just a good time to have your skill set show. So thank you for that. Anything else, guys?
Too, if there's anything too that you're concerned about, it's definitely something I can be looking for between now and when I come back to you in August.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Now we come up to item, whatever number it is, number 8, our annual board self-assessment. First of all, thank you all for taking time out of your schedules to go through and answer these questions and make commentary. And what I would like to do is make this as open as possible so that you can guide. This is our assessment so that we can guide this discussion, looking at our strengths, where we think we have those. And then also there's that word opportunity, the opportunities for growth. So those things that maybe are challenging right now as a board. So I'm just going to open it up and have you guide it. Where do you think we ought to go first? Go ahead.
It's really positive.
Do too. Yeah. Any other, do you mostly agree that it's mostly very positive? I mean, for a board our size and everything. So I think it's good. I went through there and looked, and most of them are, 80%, 90% agree or strongly agree. There are those that have some areas that we need to look at that are opportunities for growth, and we just need to have that discussion. I mean, there's no magic formula for how we look at this, except just to make sure that everybody here has an opportunity to feel heard and bring up anything that you feel like we need to know about to get better.
We could just approach it from question one and go through it.
Do y'all want to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
For the most part, I think we voted, that's all mine here strongly.
That we are what?
Agree or strongly agree.
Yeah. Right. So Q1, board meetings conduct orderly, efficient manner. See how that is? Okay, that looks good. Same thing for meeting agenda items. Sufficient background information is given and recommendations for the board. Again, I think all of us are on an agreement there. Board committees have clear and appropriate responsibilities. They're effectively assisting the board to do its work. There was one person said neither agree nor disagree. It's like, yeah, it could be better. It could be worse or that kind of thing. But mostly 91% agree or strongly agree on that. And one person said it's true for the committee I serve on. So that's good. The board, number 5, understands the primary function is to establish the policies by which community college is to be administered. I think we all know that. Again, clarify the difference between and focuses on its policy role as opposed to administrative function. In other words, we're not trying to get in the weeds of running the college. We know that governance is our main function, and I think we do a good job of that. And we have a good partner with our CEO. I might add, there was one in here I wrote down, and we'll get there. It just says, well, that's Jamel. It's just everybody was saying, oh, that's, the comments were, she's done great. Q7, the board seeks stakeholder input in developing appropriate policies. If you look at it, we have more agree than strongly agree. In other words, to me, that indicates that we're just kind of okay there, seeking stakeholder input and developing these policies. So that may be something that we want to look at. And there are comments there. What do y'all think about these comments? One and 3, I think we did a good job hiring the president. And then 2, at times, some board members have strayed from the true role of the board to those tasks that are best left to the executives and staff. I mean, that's probably true. It happened. But I don't know what
Specifics.
What would that be?
I know. Is anybody having a thought about that?
About
About the number 2, that question on question 8 comments, Q8, number 2.
I just think that it's important, maybe we need.
I don't, but I'd comment on the third comment there because I immediately thought of that function of the board when I read the initial question here. That is one of our primary
Yes.
functions, if not maybe the most important function we have.
Yeah.
Hiring a competent president, and boy, did we do that this time.
It took us a while, but we got it right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and go on because number 9, the board is committed to protecting the public interest. I'll open that up for any comments. That's one of the weaker areas here
And I think there's a comment that kind of addresses it.
on 11.
Be like,
Where's that at? Okay, here.
I feel some of like number 1, Michelle.
uh-huh.
Number 1, some of the public interest is misguided and uninterested in student success. Does everybody understand that comment?
Really? Wrong with them.
To me, I feel, okay, so I'm just interpreting it because I don't know, I didn't do this one, but sometimes that the public interest may not be directed towards student interest, the best interest of the students, I think is what this person's saying.
Not our interest.
Right. Yeah. And then number 2,
Politics is in our lives now, whether we like it or not.
I think we've done a pretty good job of avoiding political guidance in our board meetings.
yeah.
I have some specific,
What'd you say, Nick?
I think we work.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, I was just, I can think of some specific instances when our chair directed that very well.
Yeah.
So,
This chair right here.
yeah, the one underneath you.
Well, thank you for that. You know, and there's this delicate balance, if you ask me, between serving constituents and serving students. We're elected officials. We have people who are in our lives that tell us things about, you know, how we do our job better or whatever, or they have some goals that they would like to see for the college. But at the end of the day, and I will fight tooth and nail for this, we have to always consider that we have a student right here in this room that we look at that represents all Badgers, that's the reason that we exist. Not because some political interest wants this or that, or they want to make statements about something political. At the end of the day, we all, staff, faculty, administration, and us are all about students. And I think once we realize that, it just makes everything else easy. It goes away. I mean, it doesn't go away, but it doesn't affect us as much as it could have. Any comments?
I'm going to be daring and say, you know, is there examples of this? Because I wasn't aware of fringe groups.
I didn't write it, so I don't know.
So I guess it's open question to anybody. Is there an example of it? I'm in the dark if there is. I didn't know there were fringe groups or that any of us were being influenced.
I don't know. I'm just saying that in the world that we live in today, there are political sides, and there are
They're more
both
polarized.
ways, definitely polarized, and that's not our job, is to be involved in those kinds of politics. Our job should be about the students, and that's the end of the story.
There are contingency as well.
That's the main one.
I've got a comment that I think being on the board of Regents, Amarillo College, is pretty easy to be nonpartisan. I mean, it's just, there's no reason for it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, let's go on. Let's go on. Number 12 looks good. The board's knowledgeable about and involved in defining the mission, vision, goals, and purposes of the institution. We had a lot of
I think we need to
input.
go back over the mission.
Anyone wants to stay after class today with Annette?
I can be here all
May.
night.
Yeah, we've gotten till 8 o'clock, I think is what it said. Question 13 bases its decision in terms of what's best for students and the community. A couple of people were kind of like on the fence, I'm not sure. And then we had about 70%, 72% say, yeah, we do it pretty well. Board maintains on 14, future-oriented visionary focus in board discussions. That looks good. The comment there in 15, you can look at that. Again, as a collective, we do a good job, but sometimes it says fringe groups seem to influence some members.
Fringe groups has come up quite a bit. I'd like clarification on what that's related to. Where?
Oh, no. I mean, I know what I would say a fringe group is. Again, it's just the political, like you said, polarization. It's that same comment that we had earlier. So I didn't make this statement, so I
know.
don't have an example.
Asking you specifically, an open question.
I didn't make the statement either, but I don't think that the person that made the statement. Higher. Partner,
Maybe.
but I think that as a collective governing body, I do think that we need to be aware of some of the political rhetoric that's out there. Some of these political. That community.
Yes. Yeah. Are you talking about state and local?
State and local.
Yeah, mainly. Okay.
Is that in reference to people showing up at meetings, or is that in reference to, I'm trying to understand.
We want people to show up at meetings. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Anybody has any ideas?
Okay.
I'm curious.
Okay.
I wasn't aware of them.
Okay. All right, going on to question 16, a climate of mutual trust and respect exists between the board and the college president. Again, 100% agree or strongly agree. So I think that good job us. Good job us. We've done a good job working together. The board sets clear expectations for the president. To me, and I hate dominating this because I really want y'all to say stuff. The comments that have been made later talk about we need to make sure of those expectations. I know there's some talk about linking those to salary implications, and that we'll definitely do a stronger job of that this go round. This coming up, I think, is what that was talking about. Do y'all agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. 18 comments.
I mean, I don't know why that isn't all strongly agree.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I think we have clear protocols. It's whether we comply with them.
Mm.
I mean, but I think we have the protocol in place.
Then board policy.
Yeah.
Yep. True.
So the board speaks for the chair speaks for the board, and not supposed to be going around talking to everybody. So about us being involved.
Sure. Yep.
That would be a rolling forum. We're going around talking with everybody.
Well, I mean, like, if I wanted to ask Bob a question,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
if I was gonna email him, I would copy them.
Yes.
Or clear it with them first and say, is it okay if I talk to Bob about enrollment, blah, 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 or something? Just, I think these two people need to know everything. When we're contacting other employees, it's incumbent on us to make sure
Definitely.
everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah. That's a good clarification for sure. Comments there you can read on 19, pretty good. 2 says there seems to be a healthy communication line between the board and the president. I agree with that. 20, board understands the fiscal condition of the organization. I think we now more than ever realize that. Not that we didn't before, but it's just like, wow, we have really a greater understanding of how all of this happen, that we're talking about making sure it doesn't happen again. So I think that we do know the fiscal condition, and it's never been horrible, but it's improving by leaps and bounds. The budget that you presented tonight is, I think it's great. I think it was wonderful, and I understood it very well. So, number 21, the board requires and is involved in long-range fiscal planning. Again, all of this is about the fiscal and the budget. It's all good. Number 22, we have several, 2 three people that neither agree nor disagree, but the rest say agree or strongly agree that the budget reflects college priorities.
And maybe after today, next year, that number will be
100%,
better.
yeah.
Because.
You lined it out. You aligned it.
It's matched up, yeah.
I love that. And then we're going to be working on this each board meeting to look at how it's working in coordination. So, yeah. Again, 23, the long range facilities plan. I think, I know we've had one before the bond, but this seems to be a different kind of facilities study. They're not really looking to precede a bond. We're not looking to build anything. We're looking to how do we utilize what we already have better, right? I
Exactly.
think that's what we told them. We're not looking for somebody to help us build other things. So, and they understand that, I think. And then finally, 24, board policies adequately address safety and security for students, faculty, and staff. Comments there?
Well, I think we do that pretty well. I wonder if we're stuck on the word policies. Because, the police chief came and gave a really good talk about, what that she's doing and working with the Amarillo police. And so, I mean, are we stuck on the word policies? Because, or is it more about procedures?
Those practices.
I mean, I think there's always room for improvement on safety and security for students. I mean, for all of these categories, absolutely room for improvement.
And that's just as Chief Brown mentioned, that's she's looking at our whole structure and our plan and see what makes sense. And so when she completes that, which should be pretty soon, then we'll be able to come back with what she's found.
Question in the questions, the comments rather in Q25. Anybody want to address that?
Well, like the third one, that was news to me, concerned about lack of police presence while newly elected chief is on vacation. One, who knew she was on vacation? And I mean, I didn't, I mean, so that was just so particular and that it just seemed unusual, but I'm not saying it's not valid because I do know that from what she described, she's not only the chief, but she's also she's in the lapse world where she's covering for other people who aren't on the force anymore. So, no. The police officers leaving in question 2, I thought she explained that pretty succinctly, that some of these officers who have left, maybe the force is better off without these particular individuals, but obviously we've got some hiring needs and probably pursuing those. So that's all I saw there.
Do we know if there's been any left from them? Because I did a town hall weekend. Potter County, also the sheriff, and then also both of them staff of police.
For them as well.
I'm just curious.
Well, we've actually had it since, I mean, when I started, I think my first week, right? Because even with what our police force actually does is very different than what someone at the Amarillo Police Department does during their day. And so that job description and what that would be for pay and what we're able to pay versus others. But that's why Chief Brown is looking at the whole structure to see, what's the best model for us to have going forward, considering all of that.
We're saying they were losing.
Of course.
I'm not sure there's not an industry that hasn't been affected by that.
I noticed, we had Amarillo Police at commencement because I talked to
Yes.
them. We had Amarillo Police at the IO the other night for the event for that AC and the foundation put on for Beverly. Because I talked to those guys too.
That's what we've been doing
I
in the
really like
meantime
being
is that,
yeah.
that we're able to go out. There's an app or a service that you
Off-duty
can go out to get
officer.
off duty. And that's what we've been doing to make sure that we've got coverage we need for our events and all of
Right,
that.
Yeah. So when we've had big crowds, I've noticed we have police, a
We do.
conspicuous police presence, which is really
Chief Brown is all on top of that, yeah, to make sure we do.
Yeah,
The
it's
only thing
good.
that's really concerning to me about that statement, board members should have to.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure what event. I'm trying to think of an event that we've had happen.
But was a shooting recently.
Oh,
But that wasn't on our campus.
yeah.
But then when I did find out about it, I sent an email out to the whole board so that you all were aware that there was that the media was misunderstanding. Yes, and so, yes, but I did send out an email once I was aware that that had happened, but it actually wasn't an incident on our campus.
Our officers not patrol the entire, just here, they don't go to the back park at all.
No, they are around Amarillo campus, Amarillo College campus.
They're allowed to. They're allowed to go other places, but they don't. The campus. ABD does everything else. To me, that just. Assume that they.
Would you want us to be responsible for the park?
It's a pretty busy place.
I don't think ABD.
I'm just thinking about liability and all of that surrounding, that's that would be, my concern would be liability if suddenly we started taking on.
It's not to say that if they see something happening, they're not going to say, oh, that's not our area. They'll go into action, but
I mean, they've got jurisdiction all over the city. I mean, they could pull you over
Yeah.
for running a traffic signal. So I would not want to I would think we'd be creating college liability if our police officers were responsible.
I don't think APD would let us be responsible.
I know their Chief Brown she's talked about some things that she sees, and I think the changes may be coming in how we operate and getting other personnel, et cetera. So I'm looking forward to hearing her vision for this and giving us some idea and some ability to input going forward. The key component here is the safety of everybody on our campus, whether they're visiting at an event or whether they're faculty, students, staff, all of us. And we definitely want to make sure that is taken care of. I don't think anybody in here would disagree with that.
Right.
Okay. All right, let's go on then. Says the board regularly reviews reports on student success data. Let's talk about that one. What is that?
I didn't object. I didn't comment on that, I don't think, but we used to get more information on student success data with Colin. There would be an update almost every meeting, pretty succinct, not a lot, but enough to know where we were. And I think it was really helpful for the board to see the numbers, and I imagine you loved
I
it.
for one would like to see that happen at every board member,
Yeah.
every board meeting.
Definitely work on that, especially now that we're going to have our new strategic plan.
Exactly,
Absolutely,
yeah.
we'll work on that.
And in that strategic plan, I think it was in the plan about the dashboard. Was that in this plan? That we are familiar with the dashboard enough to be able to go look at it ourselves. And I'm not talking about getting in, I want, when I'm driving a car, I've got my speedometer and all the gauges I look at. I don't go in and look at the engine and all of that kind of stuff, but I definitely want to know if I've got enough gas, if the battery's good and all that kind of stuff. That's what we look at as a dashboard is what I'm thinking of. And we love Colin to present to us. I remember the pictures. We'd have 100 randomly, however, did that. And I would always look to say, oh, they're gone. I was, that one's not here anymore. That was pretty powerful to me. And we just, in all of the transition, I think that was something that was lost because we had a lot of other things going on. And I'm glad to see everybody's looking at that as we need to get back to that. And I know,
Absolutely.
I know we will.
Yep.
That makes sense. Colin, you're loved. You're out here, right? Okay. All right. So again, 29 going on. The board understands and adheres to its roles and responsibilities. I highlighted this next one. Board members treat one another with respect and work together as a team to accomplish the work of the board, we had a disagree and two neither agree nor disagree. So what do we want to say about that?
I don't know.
What do the comments say on that in this end of this section here?
I don't know that, do we have?
In Q35, it looks like.
Oh, okay.
So we kind of talked about that, touched on it a little bit earlier, I think, but this one about respect and treating each other with respect.
Well, it's a mutual thing. So.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think it takes a long time to build trust and then have respect come out of that. And I think we're working on it.
Mhm.
I think we're there yet, maybe 100% apparently, but I think trust is getting better.
I agree.
It's improved.
And that's what we need to do is make sure that we do have that respect, and trust is a big part of that. Do we trust each other implicitly? If we talk about in closed session, as this suggested, that we can't go out and talk about that. That's so sacred. Don't talk about it with your spouse.
I know you can't.
First of all, my spouse doesn't want to hear about all that stuff, but just don't. Just
shut
I've been told that before, man. So, and I think whether how prevalent this may be, I don't know, but I think there's a perception that it has happened. And we definitely want to just remind each other about the closed sessions and about communicating things that are, when we make a vote, we agree, and we said we do. We agree that we're going to stand by that vote, no matter if you're dissented or not. That's the board's decision, one voice. We've got to get to that point. So if we could all commit to that,
I was gonna say, I'm just
Paul?
most reminded by that during graduation, when we all sit on the stage. We may not agree on everything, but the students are, right in front of us, and that's the best example of all of that.
Yeah.
That's who we're there for.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I can't say that that the confidence of closed sessions never been out in the public, but I have never run across it. I have never had anybody approach me about something that I know we've done in closed session. Some of you may have, but I've been on this board for quite a while and it's never happened.
Well, not just the public, just employees who might find out something that, I mean, I would assume that would be included as well.
Sure it would be, yeah.
But I agree. I'm not aware of anything, but people in the public don't talk to me about the boards. It's just your page.
Your personal life doesn't include a discussion every day. Okay.
I don't know.
I think that we just need to remember the confidentiality of the closed session. And guys, if it happens, if you go out and say something, go, oh crap, just talk to us. Come to me and say, I think I screwed up. That's all there is. There's no malicious intent and all that. It's just maybe we need to be aware that somebody knows something they may not need to know, that kind of thing. But try not to let that happen. Q36, board members participate in community activities as representatives of the college. We do that. We say we do that. The board advocates college interest. We're actually going to do that when we're serving food, right?
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
What participate
Yeah, we're going to participate in community activities.
as representatives of the.
That's right.
Hand out sandwiches.
That's right. The board advocates college interests to state and national agencies and legislators. We do that. We're about to get ready to do that some more the next session coming up. 38, board actively seeks political and civic support for the college. We do. The board works to secure adequate public funding. Talk to me about that one. That seems to be a little up and down. What do we do to,
What more can we do?
yeah, what else is what I want to
What
say?
can we do? I mean, I don't know, but somebody thinks we can do more.
Maybe they are aware of what that is, you know, like, I mean. Okay, we get the tuition, so it comes in, we get the state funding, it comes in.
Yeah,
But
but if the state funding just doesn't come in, people are working on the state funding, you know, like going to meetings, the legislate, you know, CAT, all these
Yeah.
organizations are working to, you know, kind of project what's going to happen. And we've got the CEOs are meeting and talking about it. Yeah.
But this is specifically to the board, but still, we're on, like,
I mean, you know, we talk to legislators, you know, some of us are more politically involved than others, and I think they're talking to our representatives and, I don't know.
yeah, one thing that, I thought, you know what? It was on Q37. Board advocates college interest to state and national agencies and legislators, and maybe there was another spot. But I thought, you know, I don't think we've ever had any of our state people come in and speak, address the board.
We've invited them all.
Have we invited?
I mean, not our current ones.
Okay. And I didn't know.
Here, I don't know.
Right.
I didn't know. Just didn't.
To the legislative team, I know for sure.
Mindy's been here,
Yeah.
Kel was here.
Or-
was here.
Yeah.
But it's
Before
kind of
me.
time to start.
It was before me.
Yeah.
So that's been 5 years.
I think it was.
It
We
was,
used to have those, Russell had those lunches where he would have
all the other college presidents, right?
people from the community, industry leaders or somebody, like 2 or 3 people would come and have lunch up here. And I was at one that Kel was at, so he would have the legislators come as well. In the president's office, we just had lunch in the president's office with like somebody from Bell Helicopter or something like that. Just so they would know, I mean, what's going on and the legislators were included, because I was here and I got in an argument with one of them.
Not you, Michelle. I can't see that.
I remember it.
And I didn't have a comment on it, but when I saw that after going over this, I thought, yeah, I don't know if we've ever had local, but we need to. We need to. We need to continue doing that. It would not hurt anything if we did that.
I think it's-
Locally and state.
And we've had representatives from the state here, like at some of our functions, you know, like pretty recently.
Dr. Rosser came.
Cameron Rosser.
And toward the campus and.
You know, some of that stuff, I feel like we find out kind of late about it and, you know, like it's done when I hear about
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
No, this is just.
If you want board attendance, we might need to know about stuff a little farther out.
And on the legislative stuff too, you know, this is my first time that I'm on the front end of the session and our legislative priorities. And so definitely there'll be opportunities to involve you all as we go through that process too this year.
And when we go and talk to all our acquaintances and other people we might meet about all the great things happening here, and they say, well, do you need more help with financing? Don't ever say no. Right. Don't ever say no. You always say yes, because that's how we've done a lot that we've done at this college with our corporate sponsors and individual donors and all the gifts that we've gotten for our students, right? So, okay, going on. I think over to 41, we're in the last section, I believe. New members receive an orientation to the board and the institution. We do that. The board is knowledgeable about major social and economic trends and issues that affect the institution. Seem to know a lot about that. There are no responses there. And then we come down to the last sections where we had time to comment. And I'll just leave it open on number 44. I am most pleased about, and here's where I wrote Dr. Connor. Was there anything in here that you wanted to bring out beyond that? You're turning red. How come you're turning red?
Suits her, just believe it, is about Audrey Connor, because she's done such a great job this year.
Yeah.
So.
I need dissenters, is that
I don't think she has many.
That's good for her.
Other than Dr. Connor's main, I like comment A. The back and bold
Yeah.
and the support.
Hmm.
Number 8.
Oh, 8.
Last sentence is, having a new president who's doing a great job and is well received by the Regents and the community.
You need to frame that.
That's a good one. Or bring that up when we're doing her evaluation. Remember? All right, going on 45. As a trustee, I'm most concerned about.
I think this is a list of things we mentioned.
We have.
Went through.
Yeah.
Just like the next one, it's just. There's several people that disagreed on certain things. That's brought the same things up again, but I think, as a board, it seems like, I feel like we are. Most interested in student success and those past those. Issues.
Yeah. I think there was something in here, and I don't know if it was in this session about. It's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
It's okay to disagree in here, and sometimes that's often when we come to a better decision, when somebody has a dissenting viewpoint. I mean, that's why the Supreme Court writes the dissenting opinion, because there's value in looking at that as well. And it may change things in the future, but at that point, we voted, whatever, it wasn't 100%, who cares? We walk out of here, we've done our job. And I think open to dialogue and discussion is healthy. It needs to be healthy, not ugly. It can get ugly. I've seen that on TV a lot in politics, right? But good, healthy discussion where we all have this campus and the students and best benefit in mind. So I think that's good. Is there anything else in 45 we need to look at?
I was concerned about number 2.
You.
I'd like to hear that. If I'm correct, that's probably pointed toward Irene, and that was something that happened over a year ago and was settled. And to keep throwing it up, I think is counterproductive. I mean, there's other things that we could have brought up in this that we did not, that are of illegal matters, and we didn't. And so I think this needs to be respected, that it has been resolved.
I think you have a community out there that's. I mean, by all means, I respect Irene. Irene has coached me through something. And I think that there's a community out there that's.
Let me look at this again.
John, how was that meeting that you went to, the public, the town hall?
Got a little heated whenever.
We're discussing what?
Data centers.
Reason I ask is because, I mean, it's easy to lump everything together, and I heard a comment or quoted from our sheriff, who used to be our liaison officer at AISD, blaming all the violence in the city on lack of, lack of obedience or lack of discipline in public school. I mean, the schools are always such an easy. And the schools are such an easy target for that, and we're kind of an easy target for blaming things that are going on in the community. It's the reason I try to use that as an example, and maybe we aren't to blame for everything that folks are hurt about. And we don't want to be the cause of any of that,
Right.
for sure. So any way you see we can work better, let's do.
And I think taking things in context is also important. Um, uh, and understanding situations. Yeah, I'll just be straightforward as kind of the only way I know to do things. When, perhaps saying, "Are you an illegal alien?" is not the ideal way to say something. But if someone is promoting the college, paying for undocumented or illegal aliens to receive their education, when our students in the United States aren't getting theirs paid for, I think it's a legitimate question to ask someone why they might be advocating for that. And is it because they are themselves an illegal alien, or is it because they have a passion or a family member or something that gave them that passion to speak before our legislators in Austin? Perhaps not a ideal choice of words, but not an illegal action.
Actually, it is illegal.
Well, I'll go back to what you said. This happened over a year and a half ago. And so it was resolved at the time. It was resolved at the time. And my question is, at what point do we forgive and move on? And that's what I thought we were at. And I don't see it as a reward to be a part of the executive team at all. And I definitely take umbrage with the statement, the lack of concern to the Hispanic community, because I think we are very concerned when we talk about Maria, when we talk about our student, as we are a Hispanic serving institution. We keep them, as all our students, in the forefront of our minds, and we have people who serve roles, and people have said things, and we have to just move on and resolve it at the time and say, because like we're not perfect and we have differences of opinion, and we get in there and in that arena and discuss and get over it and say, this happened. I didn't mean for it to happen. And then move on. That's what we've got to do. That's my opinion of that. Yeah. So I just want this is out in public purview now. I really don't want anybody to say we don't care about our Hispanic community
Or
any community, but this one specifically mentions that community. And I understand it's a passion. It's a passion to be a representative of an entire group of people. We're impassioned for all our students here.
I agree.
All our students. And we never want any of them to feel less than because of some action that we've had. And if we've done that, again, apologize and let's go on and learn from it. And that's what I saw out of that one right there.
So let's go.
Let's go on with it. Anybody disagree with that? Okay. Moving on. Number 46, as a trustee, I would like to see the following changes in how the board operates. Anything there?
Well, do we want to take, time to discuss this?
Number one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah. Let's look at these others. No suggestions. Number 2, I need more information about other regions. I didn't understand that one. Number 7, I'd like to have more reports from staff. We talked about that.
Number 6,
Number 6.
I put that one.
Okay.
I just think it's important that we start educating folks who might be interested in running for the board,
Yeah.
whatever process.
Okay. Would that be through the nominating committee or us, or how does that work?
Well, another comment I made was creating a friend zone kind of thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
And kind of like we had the iLead at AISD
ASD. Mhm.
that never led to anybody running for the board. I don't know.
Is that what it's supposed to be for?
But, just some open opportunities for folks to come learn about how ACR. and learn.
Okay, that makes sense.
That would be a totally different process, but
Wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah. Okay.
I think having been on the board for many years, I feel like it changes a little bit every time if we have a new president, and I feel like it operates very well.
I agree.
but the reality is, we do have an election coming up next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, and one person is not gonna run again.
Is that your announcement?
Formally announcement.
No.
You've been saying it for a year.
Cheers.
Man, on okay, so anything else? So let's go to number one. There's a lot there to look at.
Yeah.
What's your comment, David?
My comment is, I think it'd be very difficult for this board to commit to another monthly meeting to go over all the stuff that the different committees do. I mean, we're talking about several hours. I'm really opposed to that.
Are you talking about doing it and having the committees or doing that in lieu of committees?
That's what this is talking about, in lieu of committees, that we all
Would it take?
kind of, yeah, and I just don't think that's practical.
Have you spoken with anybody that's doing it?
No, I have not.
I have. And both the college
I'm
president
talking
and
about individual time, though. I mean, you know, if you, for not, many of us serve on several boards.
right.
And to have another monthly meeting to gather all that information, I just don't see that that's very practical.
And I may be looking at this because I wrote that. I may be looking at it altogether wrong. But my understanding was that, you know, if you're on 4 or 5 committees, that's going to take at least an hour for each committee, not including, you know, setting aside the time and making the drive and having the meeting and then time after the meeting and then driving back to wherever you need to drive. So let's say it was 2 hours for each meeting. Well, if you're on 4 committees, that's 8 hours. Out of
They
your
don't
time in
meet,
the month.
they don't necessarily meet monthly.
Okay. But the core, and not like the tiers committee, but the core committees of the college. And the nominating committee doesn't meet every time. You know, obviously. But the core ones that do meet regularly, if it wouldn't take any more time for all of us to meet together for those and all of us be on the same page. And well, I guess it was Austin, wasn't it? And I mentioned it to Jamel as the college president was talking about it. And I said, that's kind of a good idea. I like that idea. And she said, well, you know, it would take time. It would cut out some of the middleman, I guess, for lack of better phrases. I don't know what phrase you use, but it wouldn't have to go from committee to the regents and then to vote. We would all be there for the working session. We would make the decision. And then when came time for the meeting, out of that working session, we would have the vote, and it wouldn't take extra time in between.
You're kind of saying just have 2 meetings,
Just
one a working session.
one
and
working
a-
session
one
and
a regular
then,
board action.
right. And then there wouldn't be a bunch of committees or
And I know
different
school
things.
districts that do.
So no finance committee,
Right, no finance, you're right, right.
and then that way everybody's.
On the same page, everybody knows what's going on at the same time. We can make an educated decision and know that, and each one of us be responsible for that educated decision rather than saying, okay, well, that's what they decided, so we'll vote on it. It's everybody at the same time. And then we have the meeting, we can vote on the meeting the same day, and it doesn't get delayed.
We can have a committee look at that.
The committee on committees?
Committees, our committee.
Are we looking at just, I don't know.
The other people who are here besides the regents who are being paid to be here or not being paid to be here because they're paid differently. But, you know, there's a lot of, we'd have to stream it. We'd have to get comms involved. I mean, it's not just the 11 of us. I mean, it's a whole village that is helping us do these meetings. So there's just a lot of people twice, you know. A committee doesn't have all that. And to,
Badger. Oh, no, a village of badgers.
yeah. And the city government, you know, there's 11 of us and there's 5 of them. I mean, it's just, I don't know about the other community colleges, but there's 11 of us and Jeff and Sarah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think it works pretty effectively this way, but obviously you don't.
I don't.
I guess
I
the
don't know
question
a lot
is,
of what's going on.
how do we create more information for all the board members through the structure we currently have? If we don't change this. That's good.
Something needs to change.
Because, you know, when I was on finances as a ex officio at board chair, I knew a lot more of the finance than I know right now. And, you know, so I do
And when you've been that
understand.
way 5 years.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you're going, okay, I've been here 5 years, but I really don't know what the heck's going on. You know, with a lot of things. Well, thank you. And that's, you know, again, talking to some of the regents that were at that meeting and the college president did a whole presentation on it. And
This is, which meeting was it?
in Austin last year, the CCAT meeting. And it was evidently important enough they had her speak on it, you know, but and we could do it, it wouldn't have to be 2 trips, we could do it before the meeting that day. You know, so it's just one time instead of 2 times. The city covers that in a working session the day they have the meeting, and they cover a whole lot more than what we have to cover.
I will say that in meetings like finance committee, there's a lot of work that goes into gathering that information and then getting it ready for a board meeting. Maybe there's been a problem with the committee systems reporting the information from that meeting to the rest of the board, and that might help. I think, you know, having this whole body in individual committee meetings for every is very cumbersome. I think it is going to slow down the work, and I think it's gonna really, and that's, you know, really stifle creativity with things that you're trying to build, but maybe we need to be better about relaying information to everyone. However that is, rather than having everyone be the committee, because you can't make decisions in those meetings, because you'll be voting on it in the next meeting. So no decisions are made in any of those committee meetings. It's all brought together, it's gathered, and then it's presented to the board in a way that everyone in that, you would hope your committees are built with people who specialize in those areas too. So you've taken people who are specialized in those areas, they present it to the rest of the board. Then it's up to the board to decide if they want it or not. But just because a committee says, this is what we want, doesn't mean that's what the board has to vote on. But maybe we need to be better about.
I don't
Passing that.
know that we always hear there's this and there's this. Y'all all decide together. This is our recommendation, everybody votes on it, okay. And in that way, I think you've kind of gotten a feel for what I'm.
I mean,
trying to say.
that's always been a challenge. I mean, the reason I'm not gonna run it, it's gonna be 31 years. So I've seen this a
Yeah.
lot. When you're on exec, you know a lot more than you don't when you're not.
Well, and when you're board chair, you know more than anybody. I mean,
Right.
it's just the nature of the position.
Structures.
Yeah.
You just, I mean, when I was chair, I knew a whole lot more about what's going on with the college than I know now.
But think about the policy meetings that you take, you know.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
invite y'all.
I was-
I don't want to be at your.
Better have some good refreshments.
But you're an expert in that area, and you did a great job of bringing it together, and then it was presented to the rest of the board so that we could understand it. And I
Yeah, so
think
there are
that's-
times the committee system works
It does
pretty well.
work, right?
Yeah.
I think what Peggy is referring to. Sometimes as a member of this body, you do. The don't know.
And you're supposed to know. And not taking a whole lot of hours, and I would hope that, you know, when we're discussing finances, we have the members that have better experience in that, but those members may not always be there. And if we're in a setting where we've got new regents, which if you're not running, there's going to be a new regent for sure. But if they don't ever get exposed to any of it, and then all of a sudden, those that are seniors that don't plan to be running again, what's going to happen with those regents? What's going to happen to the board? Are we preparing them well? If we have working session, then everyone is exposed to the things that we're responsible for as regents, and we all hear it. We hear the wisdom of the ones that have the expertise in the different areas, and we go forward with that. But what's going to happen if 3 regents decide not to run and there's 3 new regents and those committees can't be filled in the same way they had been filled? You know, that can happen. And I don't think it's good preparation for future boards if people don't have exposure to the different workings of the college that the regents are responsible for.
Talking about mainly finance and executive,
Finance,
mainly finance.
isn't it? Don't you? I mean,
I'm just asking because I don't know.
sure. You know, policies, but policies isn't,
Legislative.
yes, the legislative. Those aren't all the time. So those meetings wouldn't take as much time. You know, nominating committee, that doesn't happen very often. It wouldn't take extra time if the nominating committee wasn't having to meet. You know, if it wasn't an issue during
Right
that.
now, if we had a better mechanism to report out what happened in the finance committee meeting to our regents in a way that is purposeful and legal to do that, however, that would help.
I think it would help greatly.
Okay.
If we don't, again, we could have a working session for the finances. That, and then the public doesn't feel there's an added transparency.
That's certainly true right now.
And I think that's important.
Public meetings where anybody can go to like. Working session.
They're not a quorum.
No, so it's not. I can't go listen in because then that would be a quorum. So, you know, it's it leaves a predicament. And honestly, I get frustrated by that because I am expected to know in the public things.
Do you know how many community colleges in Texas are doing this the way you?
I haven't done that research.
If you would, I would like to know that because I don't know of any. I mean, y'all went to somebody. Yeah, do that and let us know.
Spoke. I don't remember who it was.
And all community colleges are unique and different. There's large ones and small ones and all of that. So. Yeah, wow.
We wouldn't need committees.
That's right.
No matter what.
Yeah.
We appreciate the time that you took to put that in there.
Let me know who it is and I'll
Okay,
look into it.
okay. The ultimate item, number 47, I recommend that the board has the following goals for the coming year. And so looking through here, what are your thoughts? Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. Right out there.
Oh,
A lot here.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that are already being explored,
Being addressed. Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
Just that they were in the process and people are still saying we need to do it, but it's in.
Mhm.
process.
It's already in the works.
We're agreeing with what's going on.
Maybe on number 8, because,
And number 8 was mine.
oh, was that your?
Yeah, and my concern there was, I just wanted to do that. We were doing what was the purpose of having the representative. The first 2 years was my kids. And then I came on and my understanding with Daniel was at some point going to become, or he thought maybe at one point we'd become voting members. But then, of course, we don't live in,
The district.
yeah, in the district, so I don't know how that was supposed to come about, or are we doing what we're supposed to? Are we?
Well, I think some of that's a legal question and our
Yeah.
legal guy
it's
is
not-
out chasing bugaboo.
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't there like the original
Right.
plan, but I just.
It might not be worth just having let's have a discussion around how this is working in your communities.
Yeah, no,
And
and
what the
what we're supposed
agreement
to be
was to
doing.
begin with.
or is there something else that we should be doing? And, you know, I do work with the campus advisory committee, I'm the chairman there, and I do that, but is there something else that I should be doing in this role?
I think it's a great thing to have somebody from both of those campuses, whatever your abilities are, or rights or whatever. I think it's so wonderful.
We're serving our purpose, are we doing what we need to do, we need to do more? Or is there, like I said, as we meet, we're now only meet every 3 months, as an advisory board. But is there something that I need to take back or that I need to be taken back? To help. Emerald College,
Or bringing to us.
so bring it to you.
Yeah.
And I know that we've looked into, like, we know where our concern was, why wouldn't some of those Badger Bound students come to the Amarillo College campus or enroll in Amarillo College? And a lot of them don't take advantage of that. Why is that?
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking into.
Mm.
Why is it that they're not coming or enrolling in college at all? When they have this opportunity,
Mhm.
they can take advantage.
Mhm.
So I know recently, that's something that I know that we can work
Yeah.
on. But was there something else? Is there another way that we can be purposeful? You know what I'm saying?
Do we-
Every time you serve on a committee or you serve like on any kind of committee, you want to be doing something for a purpose.
But using your time for a good purpose rather than just sitting.
Right. You want to be able to do what you can for people, because that's, the purpose. Doing something, not just being there. You want
Right.
to be able to serve the community, do what you need to.
So do we need to give an opportunity for you and Jeff or the 2 representatives to speak to the board about things that are going on?
And so we just
Or
know
to-
the original plan, like, Jeff had come on after, they've had like
Mhm.
3 or 4 representatives, we've had only 2.
Mhm.
Me and Michael Kitten have been the only ones from Hartford. And of course, Jeff, there's been like 3, from Moore County. And, so come on, what we're talking about is what our purpose is, represent. We're doing what we're supposed to, or is there something that was supposed to change in those years, or is it just this and this is?
I don't recall any specific thing that we were trying to change other than to get
Just
input.
Other than to have representatives from those campuses to be able to be at board meetings and address
Right.
whatever we're talking about, Obviously, by statute, we can't make you a voting member, but you have every other opportunity. And I'm quite pleased with the fact that we have it.
Being here, it's not that I want, but I want to do what I need to do. I don't want to just, I want to serve in the purpose.
I've got a question. Do you feel like there's something you could do extra that would be a benefit?
What I,
Is there? Mhm.
there's that come up, and then I thought, well, yes, we can do this to help. But, what else can, what we want to be able to something.
I appreciate you being vulnerable with that.
What about being in items for information where you can give an update on
Yeah,
what's going
that's
on
what I
in
was-
business
Yeah.
in Hereford?
And allowing them time during the meeting to.
So if there's something that you need to share, you can do like the Tears board, you can pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah, that'd be
It's a
good.
good idea.
That's.
Because, you know, like,
I don't know what I was getting at.
there's things that have
Yeah,
come up,
really
like,
well.
you know, Dr. Sophie or whatever they, so he's talked to the Hereford campus, you know, to Dolores and said, you know, this is what, we met and we did this, but it never comes here. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
We need to hear it.
As a board, I mean, as a representative to come here and say, oh, this is a report saying this is what is going on, you know. this is
I
what
think
we're
it'd be good to
working on,
have that.
This is
Good.
something we're trying, like,
Mhm.
you know.
Rather than just once a year when we go over there.
Yeah.
But to be able to hear from you.
But we still want to go there.
Yes.
At least quarter.
Y'all usually serve steak.
It's good.
That's fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
It's like, I
Thank
think
you.
it's been, what, 13, 14 years, I don't know how many years it's been.
What
since it
difference does it make?
originated, and I just wanted to make sure that there's something. Policies.
But and it takes a lot of your time. I mean, the drive time to come and to be able to give input.
Not just
Yeah.
about being here, I just want to do what I need to do.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Useful.
Yes.
I do like that items for information. See, every time I open my mouth, there's more work I get to do. So now y'all get to do
I
that.
think in the beginning too, a little bit about making sure we have a really good relationship with a really good representative from that community. If there was a problem.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
but if there was a problem arose, we would know how to
Right,
address it with quickly.
Right. And we do have a good advisory. So we do need it, and
Good.
so that's good, but
But
like I said.
We need to hear that though. We need to hear,
Yeah,
report on that. It's, you're
Do
good with
you see
giving.
anything in this
Great.
last page that you aren't talking about already doing kind of thing?
Not that I saw. When you look at what we've put into the strategic plan, I feel like the goals that all of you put in there align pretty well
Mhm.
and would be encompassed within that work.
Anything else? Well, thank you for that good discussion about our self-evaluation. I appreciate your honesty and your willingness to get uncomfortable items out there so we can talk about them and hopefully move forward beyond today. Trust is very important, and we've got to have that trust as we respect each other's viewpoints and just keep our number one mission, the mission, right? All right, I will entertain a motion on item number, was it 9? That's adjournment. And who second? David first, and Annette second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed with no. Thank you. Appreciate the food too.